Hello my frugal friends and welcome back to my channel. Today we have a very special video for you. I am doing a collaboration with my friends Tiffany and Amanda. I'll talk more about them in just a second, but if you are new coming from their channels, my name is Christine. I have a family of 6. I have 4 children. They are 14. No, they're not. They're 15, 12, 10, and 7 years old. They all eat a ton. Sometimes my 7-year-old can out-eat me. I love to cook. I love to play around in the kitchen and feed my family. It's kind of my way of showing them that I love them. And I also like to save money. I thought this video was a perfect combination of those two things. Let me show you 5 frugal meals that my family loves to eat and don't cost very much. And go check out my friends' videos also because they've done some good stuff. So first of all, we've got Tiffany from Large Family Love. We did a collaboration about a month ago. She is so awesome because she basically makes everything from scratch all the time on a very tight budget. I'm always inspired by watching her videos. My second girl is Amanda from The Fundamental Home. I was able to participate with her in the Frugal Family Food collaboration a very long time ago. She is notorious for those clearance discount store grocery hauls and whipping up those meals basically from almost no money at all. So I thought these two ladies were the perfect combination to bring you basically 15 different frugal meals you can feed your families. So without further ado, let's jump into the recipes I have for you today. Welcome to tonight's dinner. This has got to be one of the most frugal combinations known to man, beans and rice. Now, clearly we're not gonna eat it like this. I haven't cooked anything yet. It doesn't taste good yet. We are gonna be making black bean Mexican rice bowls with a couple of other ingredients. This has ended up being one of my family's favorite meals lately. I have all of these dried beans in the house. I've been trying to use them, and thanks to the Instant Pot, this meal comes together so quickly, so easily, and you can even bulk prep for the week for work lunches, school lunches, or even for several dinners if that's what you choose. So let's go ahead and get these black beans into the Instant Pot. I've measured out 2 pounds of black beans that I'll be cooking in my 8-quart pressure cooker. Now, clearly, this is not the Instant Pot brand. This is a Symfonio, but I will say I have 3, 1 Instant Pot brand, 1 Kasori, and 1 Symfonio. And honestly, they're all the same. I bet this was even made in the same manufacturer plant that the Instant Pot. It is exactly the same as my Instant Pot. If you want to save some money or try a different one, you know, don't feel scared to try a different brand. This is my 8-quart. I would not recommend doing 2 full pounds of beans in an 6-quart. It can be done, but it's a little tight. So maybe cut back to 1.5 pounds or 1 pound. If you only have a 6-quart, of course, you can also do this in your crock pot or on a pot on the stove. I just like the convenience of this. I will be adding some powdered garlic and minced onions. Totally not necessary, but I just like to for flavor. I will not be adding salt until after they're done cooking. There. But usually if you stick your finger in and you're about up to the 2nd knuckle, that's enough water. Don't worry, I washed my hands. Set that baby to seal. Oh my gosh, Christine, how about we plug it in? Oh my word. So on this one, you just scroll this until you find the one you want. So I'm just gonna do bean chili right there and push it in for go. Now that the black beans are done, look how good those look. I'm gonna come over to the rice. I have 2 cups of brown rice, 1 can of rotel. I put my hand over the mic, so I'm sorry about that, but I basically just added chicken broth to the right measurement with the rice and cooked it. This time I'm using my 6-quart Kasori, which has a brown rice button. There it goes. Here's the final product. I have my Spanish or Mexican rice on the bottom, the black beans. I put sour cream, salsa, and guac with some cheddar cheese on top. You could totally make this completely vegan by removing the cheese and sour cream, just leaving it as is. You can add some tortilla chips if you like. One of the cheapest meals you can make. Tonight's dinner looks a lot like chili, but it isn't. This is going to be taco soup. So I have some black beans, some kidney beans, a couple onions, some hamburger. You could do turkey burger if you want, and assorted canned tomatoes. You could use any variety you like. This is just what I had. I always have canned tomatoes on hand, so I have a petite diced with chipotle, chilies, and a rotel knockoff. This is creamed corn. I don't know what else to use creamed corn for, so I'm gonna put it in the taco soup. So you basically cook it just just like chili, except instead of chili powder, you use taco seasoning as your flavoring. So it's like tacos in a big pot of soup instead. I have found really high quality 93% lean for about $2.99 a pound on sale. So if you just got 1 pound for the $2.99 and then filled in with a lot of beans and other stuff, you could still make a huge pot of taco soup, freeze half of it, so you have a freezer meal for later, plus be able to feed your family for the night for not very much money. I've got my meat browning with the onions and a little bit of garlic. When the meat's totally done browning, I will add all of the tomatoes and my taco seasoning. Here I've added all of the cans of beans and the canned tomatoes. I probably have the equivalent of 2 to 3 cans each of kidney beans and black beans. Of course, you could use whatever assortment you like here. And then I just like to add the tomatoes until it looks soupy. And then I like to add just a little bit of water. Now to this, I'm going to be adding 2 full packets of taco seasoning. And we noticed when it was done, I actually could have added maybe a touch more because there's a lot of food in this pot. I let it simmer for a couple hours because we had to go to a cross-country meet, but I added the can of corn and this is what it looks like. I did end up adding a little bit more water, and now you can serve it basically with whatever you like to serve tacos with. Cheese, sour cream, chips, or you can just eat it like this. I know it looks a lot like chili, but it smells like tacos. One of the easiest frugal meals you can do is breakfast for dinner. You can do basically whatever your family likes, from pancakes to bagels to eggs. Today we're gonna do one of my go-tos, which is breakfast burritos. I have some chorizo, which you can pick up for just a little over $1 for a thing of it at your local Walmart. I have a lot of eggs. If you saw any of my last grocery hauls, I have some hash browns in this bowl, and my neighbor gave me some peppers. Some sweet ones and some jalapenos. I'm gonna chop these up and put these in here also. Depending on your budget, you can top it off with things like cheese, salsa, or if you don't have those things, just leave them out. You can kind of you can mix all of the filling together, or you can leave them separately and have your kids put them together how they like them. We typically just mix everything in our house, makes it easier, and everybody likes anything anyway. We're doing homemade chicken and dumplings. I have about 8 cups of chicken broth right here and some chicken that I had just thrown in my Instant Pot real quick. I'm gonna shred it nice and little and dump it in the water. And then we will get to making the dumplings, which is the most time-consuming part, but even that doesn't take very long. Very, very few ingredients in tonight's dinner. I'd probably have about 1 pound of chicken, and if you use the chicken leg quarters, which I actually recommend because the dark meat doesn't get dry when you overcook it, and since it's like boiling in the broth, I prefer that over the white meat, but the white meat is what I had in the freezer, so that's what we're using today. My kids, especially Haley, adore this dinner. I actually don't know why I don't make it more often. I guess I just don't think about it. Man, Haley loves it. You're basically just gonna take your chicken broth and chicken up to a full rolling boil. So while this is coming up to temperature, I'll put the dumplings together, and then once the dumplings are made, you'll drop them in once it's at the rolling boil. And they only cook for a couple minutes. Oh, and feel free to add lots of pepper.
The people, they want the pepper, all right? They want the pepper. I grind the pepper.
It's really good with lots of pepper in it. We will check for salt towards the end. So the chicken's going in. Then if you want to do like a salad on the side or some bread, you know, you totally can. Onto the dumplings. All I have in here are equal parts flour and water, some black pepper.
Do not be afraid of the pepper.
And some salt. I did a half a cup of each this time because last time I did 1 cup and it was like too many. So you start there, and then see how liquidy this is? I want it to form more of a dough. So you just add flour and keep stirring until it turns into a dough that you can roll out. Okay, I ended up with about 1 cup of flour and a half a cup of water to get to this point. Now I'm gonna try and roll it out and make some strips. So keep in mind that you are going to get messy. I actually should have been wearing an apron during this. There's a lot of flour on your counter, on your hands, on your rolling pin. You want to roll these out as thin as you possibly can get them. And then I just use a little butter knife to cut some strips. They do not have to be perfect. Clearly mine aren't perfect because they're just going to cook in the pot and get cooked and mushed up anyway.
Drop them in when it's a full rolling boil, one at a time. Cook them until your soup is ready.
Okay, there's the chicken and dumplings right there. I might get out some saltine crackers for that. I have some homemade bread and butter. For dessert, some cherry crisp. So, time to call the troops up, and I have a feeling I won't have any of this left over. Last but absolutely not least, one of my family's favorite frugal meals is pizza. You could do this any way that you want to do it. Some of my go-to ways are French bread. You can get these huge loaves from Walmart for $1, slice them in half and do French bread pizzas. My family adores that. I've used the naan bread when I find it on clearance at Smith's. Those make great pizzas. Today, since I don't have any of those, I'm gonna be making my own kind of like a deep dish pizza crust that you don't need to roll out. You just pour into your pan. For my recipe, I've got 3 cups of just regular flour, 1 tablespoon of salt. I know that seems like a lot, but you know, pizza's supposed to be salty, right? 1 teaspoon of black pepper.
A fresh pepper.
And 1.5 teaspoons of oregano or Italian seasoning. I have this Italian seasoning that I'm going to be using today. My favorite part about this whole recipe is that there's no yeast in it, so there's no kneading and waiting for it to rise. Last 2 ingredients for the crust, I have 6 eggs, I know, and 2 cups of milk. I've used everything from skim to half and half. I'm using half and half today because that's what I have in the fridge. Just trying to use up what I have. And I'm using a whisk, but a whisk or a spoon just to bring it all together. It'll be like it should be pourable. It shouldn't be a dough so much as a batter. I'm gonna pour my batter into a 10 by 15 pan. I would not use a 9 by 13 in this. It gets very, very puffy in the oven. A baking sheet that you make cookies on would probably be okay. Make sure you spray though. So you see how I'm just pouring that in like that? It's almost like a pancake batter, sort of, except, oh my gosh, could you make pizza pancakes out of this? My brain is spinning. Okay, and just like that, our crust is finished. Here's the part that can be tricky. So whatever toppings you prefer to use, I usually use whatever I have on hand that day. Today, it's going to be spicy sausage is really all I have. I would have loved some peppers too, but I couldn't find any of those. For this particular pizza with this crust, only want to put the toppings on that don't include the sauce and cheese. Those are gonna go later. If I was gonna do like onions and bell peppers or pepperoni, that would go on right now. So I'm gonna do my sausage right now.
I wish we could have it right now.
I know, right? We gotta cook it first though. That's it. And so I'm gonna stick this in a 425-degree oven for about 25 minutes and then we'll add the rest of the ingredients. Okay, it is out of the oven. As Ryan said, it's puffy. The edges kind of rose up a little bit. So I'm gonna add probably half of this jar, because I only have half left. The pizza sauce is going on, I think that's about all I need.
That's a lot of pizza sauce.
We're gonna spread it out and then put the cheese on top. It's gonna go back in the oven for 10 more minutes. And then the trick is once you pull it out that second time, it needs to sit for 10 minutes to like solidify and just kind of, you know, like when you make a lasagna and you pull it out, you need to let it sit for a bit. It's like that. You could do Parmesan. I'm not this time just because I'm keeping it simple. You know, cheese is actually pretty expensive. So if you want to keep it a little more on the frugal side, you can shred it yourself. A lot of the time that's cheaper, or just go a little skimpy on the cheese. I used to not make lasagna when Dave and I were first married because it called for so much cheese. I found it to be actually a really expensive dish to make. So I didn't make lasagna almost ever, back when we had no money. Okay, back in the oven, 10 more minutes. Okay, we are done. Ugh, there we go. So I'm gonna cut some slices out and serve up the kids. Dave and Andrew are off mountain biking, so I've only got the 4 of us for tonight. So let's dish it up and eat. There you go. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I also hope you will go check out Tiffany and Amanda's videos. Their links will be down below. I know they put together some good ideas. I've also already seen their videos. Any recipes that I included in this video, I'll also put down below, or if I've already made a video on something, I'll link it below also. Don't forget to subscribe. Click over here if you want to see any other recipe videos I've done, and over here if you want to see any of my low grocery hauls. I'm only spending approximately $200 a month this year to feed my family of 6. Once again, thank you for joining me. I had a great time making this video for you guys. I love to hang out with you, and I'll see you in the next one.